Hello everyone, welcome to the video. This is a recording from a call I had in my group last Friday where we basically went through a bunch of different Etsy questions. It was like a full Q&A. If you're trying to find information on things like stealth accounts, the handmade policy, product research, and maybe you're doing dropshipping or POD right now, this video is going to be very, very helpful to you. And we also went through a bunch of beginner questions, so if you're looking to get into Etsy or you just started, this video is going to be very helpful to you as well. Feel free to skip through the video because some questions might not be relevant to you, but I'm sure you're going to find something that's very valuable inside of this call. And if you do want to join, we do these calls every single Friday. I drop some value and we do a little bit of a Q&A every single Friday at 9 PM GMT. So if you do want to join that, just join the Discord. It's the top link in the description. And any more questions, I'm happy to answer. Just DM me on Discord. Do your product, buy your products to your home and then ship them. Depends what you're selling as well. So what I suggest for other people is, especially if you're dropshipping now, it's basically impossible to dropship and still use product images from AliExpress or whatever and have a sustainable store, because even if you get through the handmade policy violations, you're not going to get through the human reviews. So when your shop gets a human review, there's many things that can trigger a human review to a store, like many things. Essentially, when you get human reviewed, if you're not using fully legit images, they can see that and they'll just wipe the store straight away, because they can tell, like, if you're using AI to fill your images. But if you do have good methods, like you have better methods of getting your product images, there's a higher chance that you're going to keep your store up for a longer amount of time. But my recommendation is, especially if you guys are doing like low ticket dropshipping, if you're doing like high ticket and you're selling like, I don't know, wardrobes, it's probably not very viable to buy the product and then sell it, or to take product images from your house with like a massive wardrobe. But if you're selling like these little products, I don't know, like toys, cushions, whatever, very easily you can just buy it yourself and then take the product images there. But if you are taking product images from the internet, you basically have to try your best to make sure they look as you've taken them. They have to look like you've taken them, because if they don't look like you've taken them, then you're going to get wiped. Even if you don't get wiped by handmade policy, you're going to get wiped by a human review eventually. I just succeeded making my first stealth account since my first Etsy, or my first legit Etsy seller account, got permanently banned. What are some major things I need to keep into consideration to avoid getting banned in the future? So main thing is going to be, there's a couple of things, but main thing definitely is having good product images, because you can have a bad store which has bad reviews and it can still stay up if you're like technically legit or whatever. If you're technically selling legitimate products, they're just not very good, eventually you're probably going to get banned for it, but more than likely the ban is going to come as a result of like the bad reviews or whatever. Not having, I think the quickest way to get banned is using bad images, because human reviews happen a lot now. They've literally just like 10x'd it basically in the last 3 months. So if you get a human review in a store and your images aren't legit, that's probably the easiest way to get banned. In terms of avoiding bans, you need to provide a good customer service, so you need to have good reviews. So if you get consistently bad reviews and a lot of cases against your store, that will result in human reviews. Typically cases, I've seen many times in the past 2 weeks now, or like a month, I've seen people have cases open against their accounts and then like 4 hours later they get banned. So there's a lot of, I'm pretty sure, but I'm not 100%, but I'm pretty sure if you do get a case open against your account, maybe there's a couple of variants of whether they do human review it or not, but pretty sure nowadays they just human review it as soon as you get a case open against your account. So yeah, good product images, avoid cases, good customer service. Try and avoid talking to Etsy as much as possible. Try and just keep them away from your store. So no cases, don't contact customer support, things like that. So just try and keep them away from you as much as you can. Not really related to Etsy, but how do you manage your... interesting question. I don't. The way I manage it is I don't really do school work. And I don't sleep too much. I remember not as bad now because I got better systems, but in probably before I broke up, because I still go to school in case you guys didn't know. Before we broke up for December, I was literally going to bed at like, I don't know, 4 a.m, waking up at 7 to go to school for like 2 weeks. So it was quite bad. But now it's all about systems. When you hit like relatively decent numbers, you just need systems which do things for you and take less effort for you to do. And even if you are still doing everything yourself, if you've got good systems, then it will take less time. So it's like fulfillment systems, whatever. And if you're like scared to hire a VA, maybe DM me, I can help you out with VAs, etc. I've got a person who like does full automation for stores, and he's really good. Do you have any advice / tips around the digital product store? To be honest, I've never done digital products myself, but if anyone else has any advice, then yeah. I would say though, I think being creative with digital products works the best. Because if you're trying to sell digital products and you're literally just selling like autism calendars or whatever, like the most common products, I think it's probably difficult to do well, and you're probably gonna have to run a store for like 6 months, barely breaking even on ads, to sort of even get any sort of numbers in. I think. I'm not 100% sure how it works with digital products, but I think creativity is the best. I've seen like, I saw a ChatGPT Etsy guide book. How to make money with ChatGPT on Etsy. It was like a digital product, and it did kind of, I think it did like a couple thousand a month, but it had zero competition. That's the only reason I mention it, because there's nothing else, like no one else was selling these ChatGPT products. Maybe there are now. This was a couple months ago, or like a month ago I saw this product, but that's probably the best angle to go at it. Has the UK tax rule affected you? Is this the I was talking to my friend about this today. It's the rule where if you sell over like £2,000 worth of goods, I think, if that's what you're talking about. Where were we? We were here. So yeah, the new UK tax rule, if I'm right, it's like £1,000 or something like this. You get taxed over, but no, it doesn't affect me because I run everything through normal corporation. I think the UK tax rule is basically just the people are evading tax if they're selling like a bunch of their kids' old clothes for like, I don't know. I think if they're just selling a bunch of old stuff and they're making like decent money off it, then the tax affects them basically. But mine's the same as anything else. It's like just a normal business. That's how I run it. I run it. If you did want me to talk about how I run my business, like LTDs, I got an accountant as well, who's not very good, but they sometimes help me. If you need help with like tax stuff as well in the UK, maybe I can help you out. I know the basic stuff, but obviously this is only advice. It's not. This is only suggestions. It's not advice. I think that's the right way I'm meant to say it. Who DF watching Rick Steves? Right, great. Is that Dana White talking? I don't know. How do you create another account on Etsy if your first account got suspended without getting caught? Also, how do you find... Okay, let's answer this first question. So this first question, in case you guys don't know, there's a thing called a stealth account. So a stealth account basically means you're completely undetectable by Etsy. And you only need a stealth account either when you're creating a second store. You don't have to, but it's often best to have a stealth account, because what happens when you have one store banned, any accounts which are linked get banned as well. So when you've got a stealth account, it means if one account gets banned and the other account is a stealth account, then it won't get banned because it's not linked. Stealth accounts are unlinked to any other accounts that you have, basically. So you can run multiple stores without them being linked and without one getting banned, meaning the whole like however many stores you've got will also get banned. So the way you make a stealth account, you need to have the basic principle is that you have absolutely everything different. Most times you can use same ID, depends on a couple of variants, you can get ID banned, but ID bans are avoidable unless you're like a complete idiot and you're just no shipping. I'm pretty sure they just ban your name if you're no shipping. So yeah, just have absolutely everything different. The basics that you need is obviously like proxy. So proxy, which gives you a new IP address. You need a new like browser. So whether that's through multi-login, adds power, and then you need all the basics different. So like email, phone number, address. Basically everything that you need to sign up on Etsy needs to be different. The only things that you can most of the time you can keep the same is the name, the ID. You can't use the same picture of the ID, by the way, because obviously you guys probably know about Etsy storing metadata for images. So they store metadata, I'm pretty sure, for the images which you're using to upload your ID. So make sure you're using a different image, or just wipe the metadata, use a little bit of AI in the background or something, that'd be fine. Okay, second question, also how do you find low products or products with low competition? So low competition products, that's kind of the wrong way to look at it, in my opinion, at least. So I think the best way to look at finding winning products is you look at the demand first, and then the competition. If there's 30 other sellers selling the same product, that's fine. If every single seller is selling maybe 10 products a day, it's fine if you've got 30 competitors, because you could go in there and also sell 10 products a day. If there's high enough volume, then you can always sell in that niche, in that product or whatever. But personally, I always sell in the lower competition niches. I've never ever sold in a super high competition niche, like those anything which you see has got like 30 of the same products on Etsy. I've never sold in that niche personally. I just don't think it's the best way to go about things. I personally think it's better to sell in a niche which has like a 50k a month total volume. And then my opinion is you go into these lower competition niches and you just try to dominate. Because often when you got like 3 or 4 main competitors in the same niche, you're just going to be able to beat them easily because they're like rubbish. Whereas if you go into these high competition niches, it's way harder to become the number one. First of all, because they've been running their stores for like 3 or 4 years and they've had consistent sales. So Etsy's just going to rank them number one no matter what in searches or whatever they're going to be shown on the homepages and more. Whereas if you're selling against these lower competition niches, maybe like 50k a month, 100k a month total revenue for a niche, then it's going to be a lot easier to become the number one seller in that niche because maybe 3 or 4 competitors, it's easy to get to the top, you're going to start ranking straight away, momentum's going to be a lot quicker, and you're going to lose a lot less money through running ads, you're going to probably run profitably straight away. Whereas if you go in high comp niche, so let's just say you're selling like the most basic t-shirts, like, I don't know, your design here, white plain jumpers, right? If you're selling that type of stuff, there's millions, well, it's not millions, there's probably a good 1,000 other sellers selling that exact same product if you're selling like a your design here t-shirt. And it's going to be like, you're just not going to rank. When there's 1,000 other sellers, you're just not going to rank at all. Unless you've got some crazy SEO strategy and of course running ads helps, and then you rank over time. But it just takes a lot more time. Someone else watching travel show. Great. What should I do as a beginner to Etsy? To be honest, okay. If I could give you one piece of advice when you're asking me this question, as a complete beginner being like, you haven't even got your first store yet. You've just started your first store or something like this. As a complete beginner, the thing I suggest you do is you need to learn what you need to learn first of all. And as soon as you know what you need to learn, you just crack on and learn it and try and like become the best at those skills. And what does learning what you need to learn mean? So learning what you need to learn essentially means you figure out the certain things that you need to learn. So the most important things as a beginner is you need to identify demand of products. You need to figure out, how do I know if a product is in demand or not? And how do I know whether a product is worth selling? And that's probably the 2 most difficult things to figure out as a beginner. Obviously, you can use spy tools. I do suggest using spy tools as a beginner. I personally don't use any at all. If you've got the right methods, of course, you don't really need spy tools. But as a beginner, it's definitely very helpful to use spy tools with identifying demand. Yeah, learn what you need to learn, and then crack on. But it's very difficult with Etsy, right? Because compared to like Shopify dropshipping, you've got like millions of creators just creating free content for you. Like there's like someone released a 18-hour guide. I can't remember what it was crazy, but like an 18-hour guide on Shopify dropshipping. But there's just no content like that on Etsy. So when you're starting out, it is really hard. So feel free to like ask questions in chats, in the groups here on Telegram. There's a bunch of channels where people are helping you out. So always ask questions as well when you're learning. Don't be scared to ask questions. It's not going to be stupid. Can you explain the role of the supplier, and isn't it better to supply a product myself for a cheaper price? Yeah, of course, if you can. It depends what you're selling. For even some dropshipping products, I think the first product I ever sold on Etsy, which was like a full dropshipping product, I bought in bulk and then sold myself. Like shipped out everything from my house ages ago. I say ages, it was like April. So yeah, obviously if you can buy stuff to your house and then send it from there and it's cheaper, do that, because faster shipping, and you're going to win that way, especially against high comp. When adding a listing as a supplier, I add the original one and with his store name. I'm using a product from AliExpress. Okay, I see. Mr. Layton Cash, this is probably the worst thing you could possibly do, because essentially you've got to imagine if someone from Etsy reviews your store and they see that you're using Wong Tao Ziyang as your supplier and you are based in the UK and your IP address says you're from the UK and he's just your production partner, then they're probably not going to think too well of that. So best thing to do if you're dropshipping is probably just leave the production partners out. Obviously, if you're doing POD, then it's fine to use production partners because then it's gonna look more legitimate. But with dropshipping, if you're just using Wong Tiao Xiang as your supplier, then they're probably going to look at it and think, okay, well, he's not making these products himself. Wong Tiao Zhang is making the products. So just leave it out. Just leave the production partners blank, bro. I think I think in the course I went over it in the Zero to Hero. So go to the creating, watch the 2 creating listings videos. So I think there's 2, and I think it was either in the basics or the advanced video I covered it about production partners and what I suggest you do. Someone's got mic. I'm mad, I think. Where were we? Can you see yourself dropshipping on Etsy 5 years from now, considering it gets harder every day? I hate this comment. Someone messaged me this earlier today. Oh, I think it was in the group chats they sent this. This is probably the most frustrating comment for me that I get. Okay, so let me explain why. Why is this really frustrating? Because it's really frustrating because whenever anyone says this, I can tell that in sort of like a procrastination phase, right? So they're saying, can you see yourself dropshipping on Etsy in 5 years? You're worrying too much about what's going to happen in 5 years now. What is good now is what is good now. You don't need to worry about what's going to be more competitive in 5 years. And ultimately, you're not going to find anything that's, in my opinion, better than Etsy. The only thing that could be better than Etsy is TikTok Shop in terms of e-commerce. But like Shopify dropshipping, the days are long gone, like the golden days. Whereas I guess we're in the sort of golden days now. It's probably the golden days are a little bit past for Etsy dropshipping. But for sure, Etsy dropshipping, of course, is getting harder and harder every day. But that's the same thing as anything else. Any other type of e-commerce, any other type of online business is getting harder and harder every day because more people are going into online businesses. And the entrepreneur route is becoming like way more popular. So anything you do is going to get harder in 5 years. But if you start now, you're going to be way ahead of anyone else who hasn't started in 5 years. But there's always the worst thing. This is always the worst way to think about something. You just need to crack on and get started. Like, you just can't procrastinate. I remember when I started at Etsy, it was because I was looking for a way out of TikTok organic dropshipping. So I did TikTok organic for like probably just under a year. And I was looking for a way out, and I just saw Etsy. My friend mentioned to me about Etsy. They said it was so good. I didn't even think about it. I just started learning straight away when I started selling. So you just sort of need to do things quickly, because otherwise if you just spend time, oh, is it good? I'm not sure, maybe I should do SMMA instead, because Iman Gadzi sold me a $3,000 course. Yeah, just start, bro. Just start and then you'll find out. Speak if you're an NPC, yes. Amazing. Good comment. I'm scared of you, Ed. Is 10 or 100 products best on a DS store? So this is a good question, actually. It's a very good question. Is 10 or 100 products better? So obviously, unless you're extremely experienced on Etsy, then you're probably going to need somewhere about 100 listings to scale a store to a decent level. Maybe not 100, but like 40, 50 listings you probably need on a store to do well, for it to make a decent amount of money. So most of the time on a store, you're going to have maybe just 10% of your products sell consistently. Maybe the other 40% of your products will sell a couple times a month. And then the other 50% of your products just won't sell at all. So it's kind of like half-half. Most of the time, on most stores, you'll have half the products are selling fairly consistently, and then half the products just aren't selling at all. You might have a store right now, it might just literally be, maybe you have 30 listings, and maybe only 2 of them sell consistently. But like, you can't always expect 100 listings to work or 100 listings to always do well. But the best thing to do, especially on dropshipping, is have the minimum amount of listings. But in order to scale the store, obviously you need to create a lot of listings. So what I suggest you do, in my personal opinion, is that you scale up a store. So you do one listing per day. And then essentially after every month, you need to reevaluate the store and see, is this store doing good? Are these products selling? If they're not selling, then you delete those products. Because the lower amount of listings that you have in a store, the longer your store is probably going to last. I've seen like blatantly, I don't know if it's illegal. Yeah, it is illegal. Blatantly illegal copyright products, stores selling one product which is a bestseller. I've seen this one, I go over this it's one of the niches which I talked about before. And it's basically that there's this one store, right, it just sells one product only, and I've gone through the reviews and I've literally checked, and they just sell one product only, and every time that one product is always a bestseller. They've only got one listing on their store at a time. and it's an IP product, so I think every time the store just gets human reviews, they just remove that one listing, because it's only one listing. So I suppose maybe your store can't get banned because it's only one listing. I guess that's how it works. But I think in the last maybe 4 months, or no, 6 months now, this store would have sold like 4 different products, and maybe that each individual product sold like 10 times a day. So they clearly know what they're doing, but obviously with dropshipping, there's more sustainable ways to go about things. If you are dropshipping, then I do suggest you just try and make a store last as long as possible. That's basically the aim with dropshipping. So yeah, ultimately, the lower amount of listings that you have on a store, the better. But don't be scared to list one product a day, because you can always delete the listings later. That's what I suggest you do. So delete the listings which don't sell, because ultimately, even if a product sells once a month, it's better to delete that listing to keep your store alive. Is it a ban reason to connect? I don't know what an ERP system is. Explain that, please. I don't know. Or maybe someone else knows. Can you list the things you... Okay. Yeah, this is a good question. So the things which I currently... As far as I know, I think these trigger human reviews. So, as I mentioned before, the most important thing is cases. So if you get a case open against your account, I'm pretty sure it always gets human reviewed, especially if your account is like on a, I don't know, Etsy watch list. Let's just call it that. If it's seen as suspicious by Etsy, then your store will definitely get reviewed as a result of having a case open against your account. Another thing is listing too quickly. I think if you list too quickly, almost all the time, it results in a ban. So, for example, my friend started on Etsy, and then he listed 5 items, and his first day he got banned straight away. What else is there? So, I think potentially bad reviews could get a human review. So, bad, like if you got like a 3-star average review rating, then maybe a human review will result as a result of that. What happened as a result of that? Can't speak English. What else? If you're selling in high competition niches, that's probably the easiest way to get banned. So especially if you're dropshipping and you're selling in high competition niches, so maybe there's 4 or 5 other sellers selling the exact same product, then you're going to get banned. Because it's going to result in a human review. And I think Etsy said like 2 months ago, I think they came out with a statement, maybe last month. Actually, no, I remember, it was about a month ago today. They came up with a statement. They said, basically, we don't really care if you're dropshipping, but we do care about you selling loads of the same products on the platform. So we only want one person selling the same products. So, for example, they basically said, we don't want high competition niches. We don't want any of the same products being sold. We just want one seller for each product. Essentially, that's what they said. Because people think of it this way. They say, oh, Etsy's not going to ban me because I'm making their money. You're not making the money. The niche is making money for Etsy. So if you're the only seller in the niche, the chance you get banned is very low. But if you're selling in a niche with 3 other sellers, and let's say every seller is making 10k a month for Etsy, if they ban you, the niche is still going to make the same amount of money for Etsy. As long as they got one seller at least selling those products, they're still going to make the same amount of money. So Etsy doesn't care if they ban you as long as they got one seller up in that niche. As a common misconception, they think, I'm making money for Etsy. Why are they going to ban me? It's so stupid they ban me. But no, the products are making money. You're not making money. The products are. What should I do as a beginner to get started? Yeah, so as I said before, this was 20 minutes ago. This is a long time ago. We need to catch up. By the way, if you don't understand anything I'm saying, maybe I speak too quick, maybe you don't really understand, maybe I'm using terms you don't understand, then ask what a term is, what do you mean by when you're saying this, please, because it's important that everyone understands what I'm saying. I know maybe I speak too quick. And with me, I've been in e-commerce like a long time. I've been doing e-com for almost, technically actual e-commerce I've been doing for about 1.5 years. So I use quite a lot of terms because I did Shopify before, so I use quite a lot of terms that you might not understand, but Shopify terms are different to Etsy terms. So what should I do as a beginner to get started? The best thing you can do is learn what you need to learn, first of all. And then once you know what you need to learn, you just need to crack on and learn those things. Like, knowledge is the most important thing. You can just win with knowledge. As long as you know what you need to do to make money, then that's fine. And obviously implementing, the best thing to do is start as a beginner. But don't start too soon, I suggest now. Because with beginners, there was someone in the chat, I think his name was Monkey, might be here in the call, but he was basically writing a load of messages in the free chat. You guys can scroll up for people who are more advanced, been selling on Etsy for a while, will see the mistakes that he's making. And he basically said, I think he had like 2 listings or something, and he said he tried to list another product, and then it kept getting taken down. And that's probably the easiest way for you to get banned, especially as a beginner. And when you get banned as a beginner, you're not going to take it too well. You want your initial store to last as long as possible. And if you did want some things that you need to learn about the handmade policy, the most important thing as a beginner. And then, as I mentioned before, you need to learn about how to identify demand, how to identify product demand, and how to figure out whether a product is worth selling. Mute your mic, please. So yeah, as a beginner, you just need to learn what you need to learn, find out what you need to learn, and then learn it. Most important things being how to not get banned, how to not get your listings taken down, so the handmade policy, and how to identify demand, and how to, what's the next word? How to identify demand and how to figure out what the product is worth selling. Can I send you some product images after this to see if you think I'll get suspended from it? Yes, and send me where you got the product images from as well, because it doesn't really mean anything if I just see a product image. Actually, no, it does. But yeah, send me where you got, like, if you're using AliExpress and then you're removing background or whatever, send me that as well. If I want to get fast shipping, like 3 days in the UK, I need to get the product here in the UK, right? Because if yes, what if the products don't sell? So yeah, you can always drop ship to start with, and then you can swap quickly to the... like, if you're selling a lot of volume, then you buy in bulk. Don't just buy in bulk straight away. Don't just buy 100 of every product you're deciding to sell, because that's probably not the best idea, because not everything you list is going to sell. So yeah, if it's selling, then buy in bulk to the UK for sure. You can 3PL, so if you don't know what a 3PL is, it's third-party logistics. Basically, what a 3PL will do is they'll take your products and they'll ship everything out for you. And I'm going to be starting a 3PL this year with POD capabilities, so customized items in the 3PL as well, so make sure you keep up for that. I'm probably going to do it in like maybe 6 months into the year. I'll create the 3PL, maybe earlier, but full release of the 3PL is going to be like probably 6 months into the year. But I'll release it for a couple people who are interested earlier, because I need to sort of test how much volume I can handle. And yeah, it's going to be fun though. Starting a 3PL should be really fun. I'm looking forward to it. So yeah, only buy products in bulk if you know if they're selling. So dropship them first, test the demand. If you're getting loads of demand, maybe buy like 20 items to your house. And even if you're buying 20 items to your house and you're selling quite a lot still, what you can do is you can always offer the faster shipping as an upsell. So you can offer the faster shipping and checkout. Say you're offering normally 2 to 3 week shipping. You can say get 2 to 3 days shipping instead for an extra £5 or whatever, and you're just holding the stock, so anyone who buys the upsell, you're just sending it out to them like that. Is using clothing mock-ups risky? So clothing mock-ups is somewhat risky, I think, because obviously handmade policy, but I'm pretty sure if you buy a clothing mock-up which is from Etsy itself, they don't ban you. So if you buy a mock-up from the actual Etsy platform as a digital product, then they don't ban you. I'm pretty sure. That's what I heard from someone else, by the way. I'm not 100% sure, but obviously if you can pay someone to make a mock-up for you, do that. That's just like an easy way, because most of the mock-ups that you see online aren't very good, so you could probably just pay someone on Fiverr and get them to make your clothing mock-up. And obviously if you know how to do it yourself, then make your own mock-ups. I think I know someone sort of does their own mock-ups there. Who is it? Here's the clothing store. I can't remember his name or their name. Top Striker. I'm pretty sure it's Top Striker. And it's not difficult to make your own clothing mock-ups, as long as you know Photoshop. Have you tried POD at all? I'm considering diversifying to avoid the risk of bans. So I started Etsy dropshipping in April. I probably went fully into Etsy dropshipping, transferred over from TikTok organic, maybe in June last year. Obviously last year. And so I've been going for not that long, maybe 6 months fully into Etsy dropshipping. And then last month, about a week into December, I said, okay, I'm closing my dropshipping stores and I'm just going all into POD because POD is sustainable. Well, POD is more sustainable than dropshipping. It's obviously not fully sustainable because you can always get banned for whether it's a false reason or whatever. Etsy can always ban you. So yeah, I do suggest for people who are starting out, do POD instead of dropshipping, because I think if you're starting out as a beginner doing dropshipping, you're just going to get banned straight away and you're not going to learn anything. Dropshipping, I think it's more difficult to learn things because you just pump and dump most of the time. Whereas if you're doing POD, and my advice for you, if you are doing POD, if you don't know what POD is, let me just explain. So POD is print on demand. It's a product which is customized, and you essentially create the demand. You create the design. So by you creating the design, it makes it legal on Etsy's side. Whereas dropshipping, you're not even creating the design. You don't have anything to do with the design process. So it's not within Etsy's terms of service. But POD is similar to dropshipping, but it just has the added customizable element in it. But yeah, I suggest anyone go into POD. If you are doing dropshipping now, I suggest you watch. If you're VIP, watch my video on the 3 types of Etsy selling. So there's digital, POD, and then e-commerce like dropshipping or actually just selling physical products. And to be honest, I do suggest anyone goes into POD. POD first and then second store can always be dropshipping, just so you get that experience with the handmade policy, whatever, to start with, and then maybe dropshipping on your second store, you're willing to take a little bit more risk with the stealth account, etc. once you know a little bit more. So yeah, I've been doing POD full time for about a month, and I had that POD store, my original POD store, I've had for like 4 months now. Yeah, I had about six dropshipping stores. I'm not actually sure how many I had. Yeah, I had like 6 or something, maybe it's 5 or 6. And then I've got a few POD stores now. Yeah, I've seen that ChatGPT ebook. The store only got... Yes, that's the store. That is the store. It's only got 2 listings. It's got like a blue one and then a green one, I think. He made like $400 today. Wow. Okay, if you made $400 today, then it's gone upwards a lot since I saw it. And I think the store is relatively old as well. I think it's like maybe 6 months old. I bought that ChatGPT book. Wow. You have been scammed, my brother. The guy used the ChatGPT to create a ChatGPT book on how to use ChatGPT. Yeah, you declare once you make... Oh, yeah, okay. You declare once you make 1k revenue. 1k revenue. So that's for the proper, like, mums selling their kids' shoes and whatever. Yeah, I've got LTD and everything, so... Oh, how do you manage your taxes with multiple bank accounts? About bank accountants. So the thing that I suggest you do is... Hello? Okay, cool, nice one. The thing that I suggest you do is use one bank account to have all of your payments out. So all of your spends, so whether it's buying products for a store, all of your business expenses come from one bank account, and then all of the money in goes to like a bunch of random bank accounts for your payments. But obviously if you do have to use different credit cards, etc., and Etsy charges you maybe £5, that's not a big deal. It's mainly with like the bigger numbers, so like revenue and your biggest business expenses that you need to sort this out. So have one bank account for the business expenses, and then have all the other random bank accounts for money in, and then transfer all the money in from these random bank accounts to this one main bank account which you're paying all your business expenses from, if that makes sense. So one bank account for expenses, and then all the random bank accounts which you're getting money in from Etsy, you transfer to this one bank account. So you essentially have all your money in this one bank account. You want to have £0 in the other bank accounts at all time if you can, all times. So everything goes into one bank account. Can I use a US bank if I'm non-US resident? See, it depends. Because there's obviously a couple of things that Etsy will look at when... Well, they won't look at. The bot will look at when you're creating your store. So, to be honest, I'm not 100% sure, but if I had to take my best guess, I believe you may or may not. It's probably like a 50% chance you get through. Because if you're not using if you're using a US bank, as long as your name matches, you're probably going to be okay, to be honest. Because it could sort of make sense. I'm not sure. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. If anyone knows if you can like mismatch locations of banks, I know you can't mismatch your actual bank anymore, like your bank name. So if you don't know what mismatch means, mismatch basically means that your name on your Etsy store doesn't match your name on your bank account. That used to work. They used to allow it maybe a month ago, and then I think past that point, they ban you after you get your bank verification. I think once they send the money to your bank account, they'll find out that the name doesn't match the name on the store, and then they ban you. I think. So I think it's when they send the initial deposit, I believe. But I know mismatch doesn't work anymore. I'm pretty sure on that. Where is Gray? Good question. Gray's doing other things. Check out his YouTube. Oh yeah, watch his YouTube. Staff8. He's got it. I've been using the same ID image. Yeah, it's probably not too bad for older stores as well. But in the last month, I know they've just gone crazy. Last month, 2 months, they basically brought a bunch of new regulations in, or whatever. I guess you could say regs. How hard do you pump ads at the start when launching a product? I know a few Etsy Twitter guys like Libeezy. Yes, so of course this is the strategy. So it depends. Obviously, dropshipping is risky, so you might just pump a store and then they'll get banned when you're running a negative for a store. Let's go full. So there's quite a lot to it, to be honest, if you're looking for a strategy with running ads. How do I explain this? So, where were we? Where's this question, by the way? How hard do you pump ads at the start when launching a product? I know a few Etsy Twitter guys. Okay. So essentially the strategy is when you pump ads at the start, the only reason you pump ads at a negative is to improve your ranking. A lot of people get confused between the difference between SEO and running ads. They think SEO is the equivalent of running ads. If you've got really good SEO, it's the equivalent of running ads. Common misconception. Etsy literally doesn't care if you have the best SEO in the world. If you're putting the best words in your title and you're not making them any money, you're not going to rank. But if you're ranking high up, you're making a lot of money for Etsy. If you're making a lot of money for Etsy, no matter what your SEO is, if your SEO is terrible, they're still going to rank you at the top, because if you're making the money, then they want money and they're going to rank you higher. So they don't really care about your SEO, to be honest. And that's the reason that you run ads. You run ads to make money for Etsy and obviously yourself. As soon as you start running making a lot of sales, then you're going to rank higher and higher and higher. So even if you're running at a negative, you're just making loads of sales, you're spending loads on ads. Eventually you're going to start ranking higher naturally. So you essentially, once you scale back the ads, you can scale back the ads once you're maybe running ads at like $100 a day, something crazy. You can scale back the ads because you're ranking at number one anyway. So essentially, as soon as you stop running the ads, it's not going to make any difference because you're already ranking at number one. So it's like running an ad, if that makes sense. So the general strategy is that you scale up the ads and then you scale them back down. Obviously, there's a lot of I don't want to. I kind of have to gatekeep some stuff because can't give too much stuff away for free. But yeah, essentially the basis of the strategy is that you just scale up the ads and you scale them back down. Even though the ads aren't profitable, even if the ads aren't profitable, when you're scaling them up, it doesn't matter because you're going to start ranking higher and higher organically. I have read same of the old message. I see that all the Moroccan have what? Oh, Moroccan. Oh, I'm mad. I think you messaged me, I think. On Telegram. I think that's you. Couldn't find any solution for banking. Yeah, Payoneer, so that's an Indian thing as well, isn't it? I know. Also, we can't open Revolut or Starling Bank and any of the UK banking. Do you know any other solution we use? So, what is the actual problem? Can't find any solution for banking. The only one we have is Payoneer. Okay, so... Oh, okay, interesting. So, Payoneer bank accounts don't work. Is that true? For Moroccans? They just don't allow Payoneer bank accounts. That's weird. If they don't, that's very strange. Well, obviously the solution is to get... I think Payoneer is some sort of... I think there's some sort of middleman. I don't think they're actually like a high street bank. I'm pretty sure. I don't know too much on them though, so maybe I'm wrong. But my suggestion is just get with another bank account, bro. Like, sign up with another bank. There's not too much you can do apart from just get with another bank. Like, you just need more checking accounts from whatever banks you have in Morocco. There's probably like the big ones, so HSBC are probably there. What other internationals are there? I'm just trying to think. I don't know. Maybe you got like a Metro Bank there, maybe as well. But I don't know, any high street bank you can get with, just try and get with them. Yeah, what will happen a lot of the time is you'll get these bank accounts, so proper new banks, so third-party banks or online banks. If they're not fully, if Etsy doesn't recognize them as a high street bank or a highly trustable bank, then more than likely they'll ban your store. So I'm guessing that's what happens with the Payoneer bank accounts. Etsy doesn't recognize them as being a highly trustable bank, so they just ban it. I'm not sure the actual reason behind that. I think it's something to do with probably people mass creating accounts. Is personalized mugs worth it, bro? So I spoke to Noxus about this. Anything is worth it. There's not like one thing is going to be worth it. Oh my god, this is so much better than the other thing. It depends what angle you go at anything. So if you pick the right angle to target, you have good listings, and you're not just selling a ridiculously high comp product, then you're going to do well. So like, if you're saying is personalized mugs worth it, if you're talking about the plain white personalized mugs with just plain black text, then probably not, because there's quite a lot of sellers selling those. But if you're doing so more of a unique mug with more of a unique design, maybe you're just paying a little bit more, maybe you're going to a little bit of a different niche, or maybe targeting higher ticket, super expensive mugs, so like $30 mugs instead of everyone does the £12-15 mugs. Go in at a different angle, and it's probably going to be worth it. And that applies to absolutely everything. It's not just this one niche of product. That one cartoon gave me nightmares. Was that like cartoon? Do you mean anime or something? I don't know. I don't watch anime. How do I get a VA that automates my store, and is it expensive? So, to be honest, I have a connection which can basically give you full automation for about $10 a day. So full automation of the store, and you don't have to touch it. So they can answer messages. So it depends how much volume you're doing as well, because obviously if you're getting like 50 messages a day, then it might go up to something like $30 a day to manage your store, because it's going to take more time. And do you think my supplier to take images? No, because most suppliers don't know how to take them. Probably just order it to yourself. You can try it, obviously, of course. It's not a bad idea to try, but I've tried to figure out. When I was doing dropshipping, I literally tried my hardest to create a system where I had someone taking product images, but I tried so many people and I just couldn't get it to work. I had a shop with one product listed doing 3 to 5 sales organically every day. Must have been a very good product, meaning I never touched the ads for these kinds of numbers. Is this a potential winner or something I could scale? To be honest, with Etsy, you have to remember the most important thing. People think, oh my god, I want to scale a product. It's not like TikTok. It's not like any sort of ads platform or paid media. You can only sell as much as the demand is on Etsy. No matter what niche you're in, no matter what product you're selling, you can't sell more than anyone wants to buy that is going onto the Etsy platform. So let's just say one product, I don't know, a keyboard, just a random keyboard. It's only selling 30 products per month. And then you want to sell in that niche as well, and you want to sell another 30 products per month. It's not going to be possible, because only 30 people every month want to buy that product, if that makes sense. So it's only possible if you're doing some other external marketing, like if you were doing TikTok organic with the product to create more demand. But you can't create more demand on Etsy. The only demand that's there is from the customers which are coming onto Etsy, if that makes sense. So it depends what your competitors are doing. But obviously, if it's a new product, then yeah, you could for sure scale it to 10k a month. It just depends on what the product is, right? It depends how many people want to buy it. But you can only sell as much as people want to buy. And on Etsy, with these lower comp niches, you're often restricted by how much money the niche is making. Do you have to take ads slow? Yeah, so $1 a day increase over time. Yeah. There's a video on ads in the Zero, so watch that. How long does it take to get a product with ads? What do you mean? I don't know what this means. Explain more, please. I don't know what this means. Will this call be saved? This call is being recorded. Yes. A ban slowing down for y'all? I don't think so, bro. I do not believe so. How many people do we have now? 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, like 30 or something. Just under 30. That's quite good. Thank you everyone for coming. Hope you find this valuable. Maybe I need to get through these questions. Thanks for addressing my previous question. I have a related query following your response about the account suspension. So does Etsy not block your name and address? It depends. So I can't say too much in public because there's a lot of things that I need to gatekeep the guys VIP know. There's certain things that you can do to avoid your ID getting banned. But you can, of course, when your account gets banned, you can get your ID banned. It just depends what you do. But most of the time, if you create a new store using the same ID which was previously banned on another store, most of the time the name and ID is going to be fine. But the only way you can find out is obviously by trying. And you have to have everything in place for a stealth account. You can't just do like a different credit card and use everything else the same. Everything needs to be different. The only things which you can keep the same, most of the time at least, is the ID that you're using, the type of ID, and the name which you're using. Regarding competition, could you provide more detailed information? Are you suggesting to look for products that have less than 1k competitors? Most definitely. You mentioned something about 10 listings, or maybe I heard wrong. I want to clarify that part. I was asking for... Okay, cool. POD, good, nice. My advice is just to sell... Not to sell in ridiculously high comp niches. Because it just takes too long to scale. Losing a lot of money at the start, which might be a little bit of a pain, especially if you're new. I've said this before, I do only suggest if you're very experienced, you go into those high comp niches. And a high comp niche would be like, you search for a product, and then you just see like 30 listings of the same product, of the exact same products with multiple different sellers selling that same product. That's what classes as high comp. So yeah, don't sell in high comp niches, in my opinion. Like super high comp. Obviously, if there's maybe 10 other sellers, you can maybe do it. But it just sort of depends. It depends on the demand. If there's enough demand there to match the... If there's enough demand to match the supply, then... Hello. Okay, never mind. Hello? Hello? Someone want to ask a question? No? I can't see you speaking.
Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. The thing is, it's not that big of an issue. It takes a little bit of time for Etsy to spend. Yeah, of course. So I don't know how quickly they increase it, but don't just go to the max straight away. Obviously, you can start at $5 a day, but you don't really want to go. Maybe they increase your ad spend from $5. They give you a maximum of $100 to spend a day. Don't just go and spend $100 a day straight away. You want to scale up slowly. So I suggest doing $1 a day. Some people can go quicker, but I have heard you can get banned for going too quickly on increasing the ad spend. Dibs on early access to 3PL? Yeah, for sure. I'll let you in. Does Etsy have software to... Not yet, but selling AI assisted products, I guess you could say. So if you're selling AI art, it is technically against the handmade policy. So it's technically against, but a lot of people do it and they just get away with it. It's kind of difficult to detect full AI. Obviously, you can use the detection, whatever, bots, however they work. But at the moment, if you're AI filling like your backgrounds or whatever, which is probably why I reckon you asked that question. At the moment, you won't get detected, but in the future, you're more than likely to get detected. I think in the future, they're probably going to add an AI detection to the handmade policy bot, which will take down your listings if it detects any AI which is used in your image as well. Because it's a common way people get around the handmade policy deactivations. So yeah, start at 5. Yes, this is a good strategy. Is there any way to open a new stealth account without... It depends where you're from, Flashy. So if you're from... maybe USA, it's more difficult, but if you're from Europe, then you can use the same information again. I don't want to say too much about stealth accounts here. I kind of keep it in private groups. I don't really want to say it in stuff in public about stealth accounts, to be honest. So yeah, we'll keep that to VIP. So yeah, same idea is fine most of the time. With stealing successful POD designs and changing the design slightly work, or will that get you banned? So yeah, I made a tweet on this the other day. For sure this works, just be careful, bro. Just be careful, because you don't want to just start ripping everyone's designs and then get a load of complaints. The best thing to do is, if you have the Photoshop skills, is create a similar design, or even try create something that is even better than what's already been made, and sell that instead. Because as long as you've got the basic concept, you understand why a product is selling, you can hit those target points still and sell a different product or a slightly different design even, and it's still going to sell well. But yeah, if you let's do this. If you one second, if I'll bring up my tweet. This is probably worth some of you watching. The other day I made this tweet about POD. It's probably worth some of you watching that. Where were we at? Have you seen custom stores stay up, or are they even going down regularly now? Do you mean custom products or custom POD? So actual print on demand, or do you mean actual like customizable products which are still bought in bulk? So say someone made a custom resin lamp, then maybe they still, that's what you mean, I don't know. Custom picks. They stay up a lot longer. Because Etsy doesn't want you to have a store which looks the same as everyone else's. That's their main aim. They don't want a bunch of stores which look the same with the exact same product images. That's the problem that they have. And the thing is, if you got maybe 3 or 4 competitors and you're the only one with fully unique images which look good and they look professional and everything, then Etsy's more likely to ban the 3 competitors than they are to ban you, because you've got the best images which look the most professional and they aren't just clearly ripped from AliExpress. They're not like Chinese or whatever. Can you explain the VIP? We'll talk about that in VIP. Your opinions on Wise bank account. Can we reuse LTD and LLCs are different, because LLCs you need your SSN. LTDs, obviously we don't have SSNs in the UK. So it's different. I think USA, the main stealth method is that you need a new LLC every time. But with the UK, there's no point really in linking an LTD to your account. I think you get some benefits, like maybe it doesn't ask for your ID or something like this, I'm not sure. Personally, I don't think there is much of a point in linking an LTD to your account. But maybe someone else will have another suggestion. Do I even need... No, you don't need an LTD. Just, yeah, personal, that's what you need. You just need your own ID, that's what you need. When running ads to a store starting from scratch, what option do you select? It doesn't matter. This doesn't matter at all. They just do it to drive, like, data, basically. It's just data catching. We're almost there. We're almost at the end of the questions. This is good, though. Thank you, everyone, for asking the questions. It's good. I hope everyone learned some value. Whether you're new on Etsy, whether you've been selling for a long time, it's nice to have you here. Some good questions as well. I like answering these. Will holiday mode a store for a few days to pull money out badly mess up? Yes, sometimes I've done it and it has messed up my ranking. Does holiday mode even save you from bans? So it does save you from bans because, as I mentioned before, it saves you from basically being human reviewed and they ban you based on a high competition niche. So if you're selling in a high competition niche, maybe someone on Etsy searches for like a type of product and they see loads of different sellers selling the product, so maybe they go ban, they ban like 5 different sellers. Maybe, I'm not sure how it works, but if you're on holiday mode, obviously you don't get picked up by that, so they aren't gonna ban you because you're on holiday mode, because they can't see your store. Have you experimented with outside demand like TikTok Organic? There's no point, in my opinion, doing this because we're selling on Etsy. If you wanted to do TikTok Organic, you just do TikTok Organic. And if you have time to do TikTok Organic, then you're doing things wrong. Focus on other things. If you got enough time to make videos on TikTok Organic, unless you're like some crazy marketing genius and you every video you make hits 1 million views, then do it. Otherwise, it's just fully backwards. Like it's like making Facebook ads for your TikTok shop product. How does that make sense? Do you know what I mean? Thanks for sharing your info. Thank you, bro. Trying my best. For me, it does mess up ranking for a bit, but then it goes, yeah. Probably this is what happens. hey, just started my store, have 3 listings so far, haven't started ads yet, but how do I know that my listing is better than the other listing I'm copying? Because you're completely new to this, don't worry about being better, just worrying about creating listings which stay up. Because if you already had a handmade policy violation, as you said in the chat, I think yesterday, then more than likely you're probably heading for another one soon. And the more handmade policy violations you get, the more likely you are to get banned. Most people probably get around 2 or 3 before they get a final warning now. I've personally had 1, and then I got a final warning, so consider yourself lucky. But yeah, don't worry about, if you're new, just worry about creating listings which stay up, first of all, because the main thing that you don't want to get is banned. You're just avoiding bans, basically, because I mean, I just don't want you to get banned. So just use fully unique product images and you'll be good. How long does it take to get a product sale with ads? There's no X amount of time which is going to take to get a sale. If your listing's good, you're selling good product, you'll get sales every hour, but right, it just depends. Because you're new, then just run the ads. If they don't make sales after like $30 in spend, then can the ads for that product at least. But like, yeah, I mean, does not running ads and running a store organic reduce the risk of bans? It reduces the risk of bans maybe because you're not selling anything and you're not ranking, so no one sees your store. So run ads, because this is a silly way to think about things. It's like saying, maybe if I turn off my store for 364 days of the year, then, or 365 days of this year, then I'm not going to get banned because no one's going to see my store. But just run ads because you need to make money. That's the whole point of it. But no, I see what you're saying, kind of. I guess this maybe would make sense, but no, it doesn't. If anything, running ads would reduce your risk of bans because you're essentially sending money to Etsy for free. I got my dad's ID banned because I'm under 18, but my dad has a business bank account and he has a company under his name. Try sign up with an LTD if you can, but I'm not 100% sure on that, to be honest. So can I use it? Because, yeah. I can't use his company details. So if you signed up with an LTD, then more than likely you need new ID. Mihai. Oh, it's Justin, I think. I think we're on Mihai. I think it's Justin with the mic. Thanks for the answer. I appreciate the info. No problem. How do you get around the new bank account issues? Create self accounts. You said VCs are risky. Bro, there's literally search in the value channel. Go to this channel and search for VCC strategy. There's a strategy which will get you any VCC, no matter what it is, how weak it is. It'll get accepted. I'm pretty sure it works. That's what I did, at least. For VCCs which don't get accepted, you just use the strategy and then, yeah. It's in the stealth guard as well, by the way. But yes, that is a VIP question. That's why I'm not saying it. Otherwise, I'll just tell you. Does Etsy flag if I upload pictures to Etsy that are already on Etsy? Yes. So, by the way, for the handmade policy, what they actually detect for the handmade policy is any image which... The basic principle is, if you use any image which is already on the internet, it's going to take your listing down. Go with that principle, and as long as you aren't using any images which are already on the internet, then you're going to be fine. And if your image is very close or similar to another one which is already on the internet, then it's also going to take your listing down because it's classed as being the same. So I believe they have some sort of image detection, whether it's reverse image search, which they're using to detect whether an image is on the internet already. Then they'll take the listing down because of that, if it's on the internet already. They also store metadata, so whether the image's metadata has been already been on Etsy, then they store that as well, and they take your listing down because of that. So they take any listing down with images which had already been on Etsy or images which are already on the internet. So particularly AliExpress, what might happen a lot of the time as well is if a store is banned, you can't actually see what their product images are, but Etsy is still storing that metadata from that store or from the images on their listings. So maybe you're going to list a product which isn't even on Etsy yet, but it's from AliExpress, and it's only on AliExpress, but it's not on Etsy. Maybe a store was banned previously that was selling that product on Etsy, and they stored the images metadata, Etsy did, and then they're going to link that to your store and potentially could even get banned, but more than likely you're just going to get a listing deactivation because of it. And you got to remember, the more risks you take, the more likely you are to get banned. So you want to mitigate all risk. I'm considering running 2 stores simultaneously with the same products, and all. That's a silly idea. Don't do that. That's well overcomplicated. Because it's yeah, don't do that. Just run 1 store, bro. How do I change when it says 20 plus baskets to how many people purchased it in the last 24 hours instead? You can't. Just check the reviews. And then recently, sort by recently on the reviews, and then reviews to total sales ratio, and then work that out. I think you know what I'm talking about. Our hot niches that are more closely monitored have higher bans. So, or is that just high comp niches? I personally think it's just the high comp niches. So if you're selling loads of the same product, way more likely to get banned. Because in the statement which Etsy came out with, maybe I can find it, I'll try to find it for you guys so you can maybe read through it. But with the statement that Etsy came out with, they said, we don't want you to sell high comp products. We just want you to sell unique products. We don't really care if you're dropshipping or not. Let's read this. I've got it up, in case you haven't seen it already. Let me just change the image. Alright. This is it. Let's read this. You can see my screen, I think? Yes, you can. Alright, so this is essentially what they said. Let's go full screen. We're going to read through this. With over 120 million sales, we've got millions of beautifully crafted items we believe are perfect for almost any occasion, blah, blah, blah. Our opportunity, blah, 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 blah. Focus on better identifying the quality of each Etsy listing utilizing humans. So this is basically saying they're gonna. This was about 2 months ago now, maybe a month and a half ago, I think. And basically, what they're saying here by utilizing humans is that we're just giving you way more human reviews. So we're gonna basically ramp up the human reviews, or the amount of human reviews which are going on in each listing. Or maybe it's really difficult because I'm trying to gatekeep and I don't want to say too much. But yeah, so moving on. ML technology, can't lie, I got no idea what that is. That's probably some sort of, like I mentioned before, reverse image search thing or data storing from each image. That's how they take listings down, I'm guessing, but I'm not 100% sure. Blah, blah, blah. Basically, they're saying we want to bring the best of Etsy to the top. We're going to rank products highest, which are the highest quality listings. Blah, 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 a bunch of waffle. Oh, I was trying to scroll down. For example, from the start of the year, we're tracking to a 9-fold increase in the number of human-curated listings on Etsy. So they literally just told you that we're 9xing the amount of human reviews on Etsy. So whether it be with stores or listings, they're just 9xing the amount of human reviews which they did last year. And this is talking about from the start of 2024, by the way. So from the start of the year, which is basically saying from the start of 2024, we're tracking to a 9-fold the increase in number of human curated listings. We're also utilizing ML models, blah, 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 no idea what that means, but probably means some sort of technical reverse image search detection, image detection thing. Oh, which they've also added here, I forgot they added this. So they're using some sort of technology to determine the physical or visual appeal of an item. So basically, they're using an item or using technology to determine whether a product has high quality images or not. I think I said that right. Frankly, our timing on this work is important with more competition offering low quality, same as everyone else, mass manufactured merchandise. This is probably the most important sentence of this whole thing. Frankly, our timing on this work is important with more competition than ever, offering low quality, same as everyone else, mass manufactured merchandise. Which is basically saying, if you're selling low quality Chinese products, we're going to ban you. Essentially, that's what that's saying. So if you're selling the same products as everyone else, which are low quality and just Chinese, bought in bulk or drop shipped, we're going to ban you. But if you're selling a fully unique product, which technically wouldn't be classed as mass manufactured because you're the only one selling it on Etsy, then you're way less likely to get banned. I hope this makes sense what I'm saying. There's also a huge... This is waffle trying to sell to the customers, whatever. But yeah. Basically, that's what they're saying. ML is machine learning. So yeah, machine learning. So that's AI. They're using AI. if I can't use if I can't use AliExpress images, where to get images from? Does using images from AliExpress reviews dodge the handmade policy? When setting up a stealth, you said everything has to be unique except to your ID. So would you jig? We'll go VRP and we'll talk everything about addresses and whatever for stealths. But I can't say about this in public. Are the hot niches? Is that everything? I think we've done everything. Fantastic. Oh, first ever store got suspended for non-handmade policy while it were POD sweaters. Am I supposed to create an entire new identity with everything new? What do you mean create an entire new identity? Goodbye. Entire new identity. So are you literally just changing your identity? Is that what that means? What does that mean? Please explain. Flashy, please explain what this means. Thank you, bro. No problem. Usually, thank you. Okay, so this call was pretty good. I think everyone maybe learned something. Let me know in the chat what you think. We'll probably do another one of these next week. We'll probably do less Q&A. I want to drop some value, so we'll have a topic. I think we're probably going to do product research next week. We're going to do next week Friday. We're doing these calls every week, by the way. So every week we're doing these calls. Good question. Excellent. A. Nice. Need more of this. Cool. So yeah, every week we're going to do this. So Friday to next week at the exact same time we're going to do this. Something to be aware of, by the way, is Chinese New Year is coming up. So I do suggest you get preparations done in the next week. I just thought of that because Chinese New Year is like the 22nd or something like that, and they take literally 2 or 3 weeks off, and it's going to be a nightmare, especially coming back. There's going to be so much delays coming back. So please, if you're selling good volume, get systems sorted. Ask your supplier, what are you doing for New Year? Because you're going to become severely... I can't even imagine the amount of problems. I don't even want to get into it. It's going to be a big pain. But yeah, be aware of Chinese New Year and get some systems in place. Spend a bit of money. Maybe hold some stock. A couple of things like that. Maybe use Indian supply. I don't know what the solution is. I need to look into it for some stuff. Great call, by the way. Thank you. How do you get your product images? VIP. We'll talk about that now. VIPs only. And by the way, guys, I'm not trying to push the sale too hard, but I am just saying... I can't do New Year's for the rest of us. Yeah, well, they take way too long off for their New Year. It's like a big thing. I think last year, this time last year, I was doing TikTok organic, and I sold... I think January was like my second best month on TikTok organic. And I was like having the worst time of my life trying to get like product in. It's biggest pain. But yeah, I'm not trying to push the sale too hard, but obviously if you are interested in joining VIP, I have everything in there. I help run it. I help run VIP. Mainly, the best thing in VIP is that you can just ask any question I answer you in full. Or someone else answers you in full. It's a great community we have in there. Are we switching now to VIP only? Yeah, we're going to answer a couple questions about stealth and the ID questions that we had in VIP only. And yeah, obviously I dropped a bunch of videos for the VIPs as well.